What's up, guys? This is Kephas. Welcome back to WoW Leveling, everyone. We are continuing the fight here in Stormsong Valley. Early on in the zone, we are about to get our first level, our first venture into level, into the 110s, about to hit level 111. I think that's right. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's where I'm at. Getting my leveling confused. This will be the final leveling experience I have, I would say, before the changes come. So that'll be kind of interesting. Now, I'm not upgrading my gear. I should probably upgrade this though. But I'm not putting on my Titan Forged, or was it not Titan Forged, but the Azerite gear. Maybe I should. There's our level, by the way. But I'm keeping my XP gear on, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do, so let me know in the comments below. What do you think I should do? Should I switch gear? I'm just kind of keeping it like this because it's what I know. But we have tons of quests to do here. It's kind of crazy, actually. Let's see, Stonejaw, we can go down there. We got these ones up here. Let's just go right up here and do these. That's fine. But this is pretty easy so far. I almost died once, but it's okay. So, you know, I want to continue on with this talk of storylines. So, like last episode, we were talking about, you know, it seems like people tend to get less interested in the story in WoW, or in a lot of. I think it's not just specific to WoW. I think it's a lot of things. But people get less interested when you start getting into this like celestial, you know, focused storytelling. What are we doing here? Souls. Oh, I got to use this item. Let's see. Cause the souls of deceased. Okay, so we use it when they're dead. Okay, that's easy enough. Oh, there we go. You know, people tend to get less interested whenever the storyline is focused around like the celestial beings and not so much grounded storytelling, that kind of thing. But you know, I kind of noticed something else when it comes to storytelling. You know, this is something that like I kind of made an offhanded comment a couple weeks ago, back when we were in Draenor. Still, and I kind of made a joke, but like a sort of a mild observation. It's not, you know, I'm sure there's like, you know, you can think about this. And again, like, no, whenever I talk about stuff like this could be something that some people may not like or agree with. I'm not intending to, you know, upset anybody or whatever. This is just my opinion. I like to share things that I think will share thoughts that I hope will generate, you know, calm, reasonable, you know, respectful, but, you know, open-minded discussion that can get different perspectives about different topics like this, you know. But I made a comment where I was like, you know, it seems like a lot of, like, there aren't really any tough guys in WoW anymore. You know, like, there aren't any, you know, strong, I don't know if should I say strong characters? But it seems like there aren't a lot of tough guys. Like, a lot of, like, the orcs of, you know, of Draenor were like the last of the tough guys, almost. I mean, you had Sourfang, which was definitely like an awesome character. You had Varian, also an awesome character. Both of them are gone now, unfortunately. You know, do I have a quest to turn in here? Looks like there's a turn in here. Oh, there he is, right in front of my face. I apologize. Okay, let's go ahead and turn that in. That was a quick one. Let's get this next one. Destroy 8 anchors of... Okay, cool. This stuff is crazy. But anyway, so... You know, the Celestial, like, well, not, what was I saying? Not the Celestial being, that was the last episode. But, like, you know, when it comes to characters in games, I've noticed this about myself. I think that, like, especially, like, when it's a character that you're playing, but it's, or characters that interest you, I think that, like, we all have characters that we are drawn to. You know, we all have characters that we either relate to, or characters that we want to root for, or interested in, that kind of thing. I have always felt like, for example, Garrosh was a missed opportunity. I've talked about this several times about, you know, I thought it was a big mistake to turn Garrosh evil. I thought Garrosh filled a void in the story, which is the anti-hero. The thing that I like about Garrosh so much, when he was the war chief, is that he was a kind of character that he seemed like he had honor. He did. The things that he did in, you know, Stone Talon Mountains, honor, you know, the honor speech, that was very interesting. It was very moving. But, you know, so he had that sense of honor. He believed in the Horde at the time. The whole Horde, too. Not just orcs, but the whole Horde. He was also a character that wasn't afraid to say what he thought. He spoke his mind. He called out people when he felt like they needed to be called out, and he was strong. He was tough. And I liked that character. I liked him from the beginning. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people said that he was, like, I guess, like, I mean, he's a character, like, he's toxic, you know what I mean, or whatever. He's a jerk. He's, like, he's mean, he's rude, all that kind of stuff. And, like, I'm not saying he was perfect, but, I mean, perfect characters are kind of boring anyways. But he was a good character. He's a character that could, cause conflict, but also people could rally behind, kind of thing. He's an anti-hero. He's not like your typical hero. He's an anti-hero, and you don't have characters like Garrosh anymore. They made him a villain. They made him a xenophobe. They made him crazy, and he's gone now. He's dead. That whole thing is gone, and it's unfortunate, to be honest, because again, you have a character that that resonates with a lot of people. I mean, there's a joke video out there about how Garrosh did nothing wrong, and it's a joke, but at the same time, he did a lot wrong in the end. But not a lot of people wanted him to go down that path. Not a lot of people wanted him to become the next villain. Other people were like, oh, totally, saw that coming. Unfortunately, that type of strength, I guess, that type of no nonsense, tell you what you think kind of thing, is tied to negativity a lot, which is annoying. It's like it's a little bit frustrating that, like, not like the obviously like the xenophobia and all that stuff is bad, and being rude isn't always preferable. Sure, he was like, he may have not been the most diplomatic, but that's not the problem that people had. It was his what's the word I'm trying to come up with? Like, it was his strength, his fearlessness. That aspect of him is what a lot of people didn't like. For some reason, like, it's like there's a certain type of character that these days is not as popular. Well, it is actually. I should rephrase that. It's popular because it still resonates with people, but it's not popular among storytellers, and it's not popular, well, among a certain group. People have labeled it as toxic. I guess you could. A lot of times it's called, masculinity, which, there are certain aspects of it that certainly can be a problem. That would apply to anything, right? But the overall, like, the strong, fearless, I guess, like, the Arnold Schwarzenegger characters, you know what I mean? Like the old 80s action movie type characters, which I'm not saying Garrosh was an 80s action movie, but he was definitely like a brazen, fearless, strong character, right? And like, there's no room for that in a lot of people's stories anymore, because some people don't like that. They think that that's an overall negative. I don't agree at all. In fact, those are the characters that oftentimes, they entice me the most. Like, there are two types of characters that I enjoy. Okay, like when I was a kid. Okay, if you ever watched wrestling, professional wrestling, when I was a kid, I loved the Hulk Hogan character, and I still do. The good guy, the ultimate good, uncompromisingly good guy, until he became part of the NWO. But like, originally Hulk Hogan was an uncompromisingly hero. Like, he was a hero, or Goku, American Goku from the Funimation dub when I was a kid. Like, I always liked that character. That character always resonated with me. The hero. That I always liked that. But then you also have another type. When I became a teenager, you have another type of character, and that's the Stone Cold Steve Austin character. Now, Stone Cold was not a hero, but he was a hero in a way. He was an anti-hero. But the thing that people liked is he wasn't afraid to tell his boss, the evil Mr. McMahon, where to go. Where he'd flip him off, he'd tell him to go to hell, and he wasn't afraid to. And that resonates with people, because like, a lot of times, like, no matter how good you want to be, you deal with people that are really, really bad, or they have this stranglehold over you. They're bullying you, and sometimes you have to stand up for yourself, even if it's not popular or whatever. And and people resonate with that anti-hero. It's like, I'm not being necessarily the goody hero right now, but I have to be I have to do what's necessary to stand up for myself and stand up for other people that are whatever. That's actually kind of like what I'm seeing with Ghost. Like I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now. It's the most compelling game I've played since Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's because it kind of like combines both of those ideas. Like on one hand, you have this guy who's honor before all. He's a hero. He wants to protect the innocent and all that kind of stuff. But he also has to do what's necessary to do that. And so those types of characters always appeal to me the most. And a lot of times, the more brazen, no nonsense characters, they're harsh, they're rude, but they're not afraid. They're not afraid to say what they think. And I think that there's a place for those types of characters, just like there's a place for the uncompromising hero, which is another thing you don't see a lot of these days. A lot of times these days, like, everybody's gray. Everybody's like this shade of gray. Like no one's perfect, which you don't have to be perfect, but like it's a deep, deep shade of gray. You know what I mean? Like, and I actually think that you have to have, I think you gotta have that type of character. The thing I guess I'm getting at here is I think that like this game, particularly now, it lacks those strong characters. Particularly, I mean, well, I think it's both male and female characters. I think that, like, it's definitely these days, you're seeing a lot fewer. This is where things could get, I guess people can get offended. I don't know. I don't even care. But like, there's fewer strong male characters these days because there's a push to phase that out. No more male heroes, they have to be weaker because it's toxic masculinity or whatever. And like, my thing is, I think that you still need to have, like, you can have other characters as well. Particularly strong. I think that strong female characters is a great idea. Like, I mean, I'm not against that. I like strong female characters too. But I think you can have both, especially in a game like WoW. The thing that's wild right now is that, like, when I look at WoW, I don't see a lot of that. Like, I don't see a lot of, like, there's Anduin. I wouldn't call him a strong male character at all. A lot, and that goes for a lot of the male characters. Like, even the Horde male characters, like Thrall's weak and beaten down and questioning everything and, whiny right now. It's very annoying. Thrall hasn't been a good character, in my opinion, since, like, Wrath. Like, and because like he was diplomatic, that's fine. It's being diplomatic doesn't make you weak. It's okay to sometimes not be diplomatic. Like, say the Alliance commits a bunch of atrocities. Thrall's trying to be diplomatic because he's like trying his best. Then you have Grosh who came in and is like, no, we have to fight now. There's room for both of those characters because it shows sometimes you have to fight, other times you want to be diplomatic, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Sorry, knock at the door. Anyways, like I was saying, I was talking about, strong characters, particularly male characters. Like a lot, I guess, like I feel like a lot of the current, the current male character, the male characters are because a lot of the strong male characters are either dead, or they're softened. And I don't mean like in a more diplomatic way. It's more a reference like they're very like just weak, I guess, not sound, not just whatever. And like I don't know, it's hard to explain exactly how this, because like just like by saying this, people could misconstrue what I'm saying to say like, oh, men can't be a certain way, they can't be emotional, they can't be soft or whatever. It's like, it's not so much that. It's okay for there to be like the darkness before the dawn or whatever you want to call it, or just like that, having a weak moment of questioning everything. That's all fine and good, but too much of that after a while, it's like, okay, whatever, like get on with it. But like it's oftentimes like you have to have those unwavering characters that exist, and they don't always have to be men either. It's not even that. It's because like you can have strong female characters too. Like that's more than welcome. Matter of fact, I think it's necessary to have both, and to have evil male and female characters and weak characters, like or characters that are you're going through things, or whatever, but you still have to have like a consistency, or I should say more of a diversity. There has to be the strong characters. There has to be the both. I think it's good to have both male and female strong characters. The thing about the female characters I've noticed right now, though, is and again, I'm going to say this, and if it gets people upset, too bad. This is my thoughts and my opinions. I'm not trying to say it to offend anyone. This is just an observation. It seems like a lot of the female characters, there's a lot of female characters kind of rising to power, which is, again, it's okay to have women in power, but a lot of female characters are currently or have gone crazy. I'm talking absolutely nuts, or at least had a crazy spell, and it's the same kind of thing. So for example, Jaina went crazy. Sylvanas is going crazy. Yrel is going crazy. Okay, we're waiting for this. Wait, no, we go over here. Valeria is going crazy. They're teetering on it. Even Kalia is questionable, right? All these characters, all these particularly female characters, are going crazy, and I actually kind of find that annoying because it's why is it necessary to consistently do this with the female characters? Why do they have to go crazy? Why? I mean, there are plenty of male characters that go crazy too, but not all of them. I would say that the vast majority of prominent... Tyrande also kind of going crazy right now. Questionable. It's weird. They're all... And sure, there are reasons for it. You could probably come up with Valeria, or I mean, not Valeria, Illyria is dealing with the void, right? So, and then, look what happened to Tyrande's people. Yeah, sure, you can excuse it with the stories, there's reasons for it, but why is the storyline, the developing of the storyline, causing all the female characters to go absolutely freaking nuts? Because I don't, do people think that makes them strong? Because I don't think it does. I don't think that makes them strong at all. In fact, I think it does the exact opposite. You can have strong female characters be as unwavering and whatnot as anybody else. You don't have to them being crazy. They're so, look how powerful they are. Look at how strong Sylvanas is. She just beat the Lich King. That doesn't make her a strong character. It kind of does the opposite, because you're still if you're going if they're not sound in somewhat, heck, even Garrosh never went crazy, he just went evil. Even when he went evil, and he was using the old gods, he wasn't being influenced by the old gods. He just wanted the power for himself. That's how strong he was, right? He was still of his own will, doing his own, this is what he wanted to do, right? That's kind of the idea. And maybe Sylvanas is like that, but she just seems crazy. Just absolutely, what the heck is she doing? She's just going nuts, out of nowhere. There's no, Garrosh's was kind of coming, as annoying as it was kind of okay, he's going Conqueror mode. What the heck? But then you have, Jaina, another good example. Jaina was a great character. She did not need to go down a crazy path. She was a good, strongest mage in the world, right? And she was so strong that she literally stopped the fight between the Alliance and the Horde in the Undercity. No, you guys are done fighting. Behave yourselves. That's very respectable. The chick will, she's very, very powerful. And then, guess what? Tragedy strikes. I mean, tragedy just struck everybody. Everybody's seen horrible atrocities. Yet with her, it causes her to go nuts for a long time. She seems to be better now. Seems like she's kind of gone out of the crazy. But they rehashed her going crazy and then getting over it and then going crazy and then getting over it 3 times in the storyline. And just let her be sound mind. Why can't she just be good? You know what I mean? She can be strong in her own in her own beliefs, in her core identity, and all that kind of stuff. That's what makes a character strong. It doesn't, not that you can't have people go crazy. It's fine. You can have people go crazy. The point is It happens too often, and it's usually like, I mean, Nefarian went crazy, Arthas went crazy, Illidan went crazy, kind of. They kind of retconned it, but still, like, I mean, there's plenty of male characters that do it too, but like, you know, when you have like a vast majority of female main characters go nuts, it starts to see a pattern. Just like when you start seeing a lot of the male characters just get very weak and grovelly and, you know, not sound. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, look, because like I compare it to Game of Thrones, right? Like, not to spoil it, but like a lot of people, I mean, probably most people did not enjoy the ending of Game of Thrones, the show. And well, what happens when you take the two main characters and you take the male character and you make him weak, and you take the female character and you make her crazy, right? It's kind of this. That's kind of like, wow, all the male characters are becoming weak and all the female characters are going crazy, and that's a little bit hyperbolic because it's not every one of them, but you know, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a pattern, and it's a weird pattern, and I don't know why it's happening because it's not just in WoW. It's not a specific problem to WoW. It's a problem with a lot of things. Like, every time my wife starts to watch a new TV show, there's like this same old pattern that happens, you know. And I don't want to use certain words, but like, I feel like there's a reason for it that goes beyond just like the story itself. Like, it's a real world movements and things that are happening that appeal to a certain group of people, but the reality is most people aren't those people and they don't like it. That's kind of like, you get what I'm saying. I'm not gonna go there, but I think people know what I'm getting at, and some people may not like that I'm saying that, but that's just how I see it. Like, and I kind of feel like WoW might be going down that road as well. And it's like, here's the thing, okay? Here's what I'm ultimately getting at. When it comes to having characters, male, like, it's good to have a diverse cast of characters, right? And yeah, fine, diversity in identity, you know, physical traits, but I think it's far more important. Far more important to have diversity of thought, diversity of ideas, diversity of personality, diversity of perspectives, you know, those sorts of things. So it's okay to have characters that go crazy, both male and female characters. It's also okay, though, to not have every character fill some archetype or put a character in because you're trying to check some quota for something. You know, like, the thing, like, because the thing about it is, and this is one of the things I don't understand, like, because I don't know if it's this or what it is, but I'll just put it this way: I'm visually impaired, right? I have a vision, you know, whatever. When Demon Hunters came out, I had so many people like, "Aren't you happy that you're finally feeling like you're getting some representation?" And I'm like, I mean, not really. Like, that, I don't like. What do you? Just because Demon Hunters are blind, I'm suddenly supposed to that's supposed to resonate with me somehow? Like, it doesn't. That's ridiculous. That's borderline offensive. Like, that I'm not defined by just that thing, right? I resonate with a lot of different characters resonated with me. Garrosh, when he was good, resonated with me. Thrall, when he was the leader of his people, resonated with me. Varian, when he gave up his life to save his people and shouted for the Alliance and for Azeroth, that resonated with me. Those heroes resonated with me. Jaina, when she, you know, like, when she turned, like makes peace with her mistakes, you know, honestly, like, they kind of took her down a good path in the end. That resonated with me. Like, there's a lot of characters. Varrock Sourfang resonated with me. I'm not an orc, right? But, like, you can have characters of all different, like, you can have characters that, what resonates with me, the point being is, like, what resonates with me is not because a character physically matches me. That's ridiculous. It's the person that they are. The internal, like, the person inside. That's what people connect to, right? That goes back into the last episode about, like, celestial beings, okay? People want to feel connected to the world that they're in. And the way they do that is through the characters and through the experiences and through the stories, the more grounded stories. It's the same thing. Like, I feel like sometimes maybe that's what it is. I don't know if that's what it is with WoW. And again, I'm not trying to upset anybody. And, you know, I'm sorry that a lot of times I do criticize. I criticize because I care about it. But, like, if that's the path they're going down, like, we're going to go down this, you know, path of appeasing a certain group of people because that's the thing to do and it's going to get us points and it's going to make us relevant again. Like, that's, you know, the reason why a lot of people don't like that is because they don't want characters like that to exist. Okay, it's because they feel like they're existing solely to appease a certain person who thinks a certain way, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, Overwatch had that problem with a certain character. I don't think people care that the character is a certain way, but I do think that people care that why, the reasoning behind why it's that way. Because it doesn't, like I said, for me, I don't share the mentality that because a character physically matches me in some way, whether it's my gender, my color, my disability, it doesn't resonate with me. I've never thought that. Like, I don't... Kenshi in Mortal Kombat isn't like my favorite video game character because he's blind. That's stupid. My favorite video game character in Mortal Kombat has always been Liu Kang because he's the hero. You know, especially this last one. Or, you know, who else? Scorpion. Because I love when he when he becomes good. Like, that's cool. When Scorpion became a good guy, like, he overcame his demons and stuff, like, that resonated with me. Because that's the kind of stuff that I like. You know, that stuff resonates with me. I can give two craps about Kenshi. Like, he's whatever. He's kind of cool, I guess, but, like, I mean, he's not my favorite character. Like, is he supposed to be? Like, but that's what people think. It's stupid. That's how it's very annoying. Like, that's how a lot of people think. You know, like, there are lots of characters that Lee from Walking Dead, Telltale, resonated with me. We're not similar at all, but his character resonated with me. He was very, you know, a very emotional story that he had. It was a very good character. Arthur Morgan from Red Dead resonated with me. He's another good character. Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, another character that I loved very much. You know, like that's the thing. It's like it's the when you have characters like, so when it comes to WoW, like with characters, it's like you can't have everybody be the same. Like, you can't have every character feel like they're more or less the same. You know, like they all share the same traits. You know, like or we're just gonna put this person in this part of the story because they are this whatever identity, I guess. Sometimes I don't know if WoW's doing that. Sometimes it feels like it, but that could just be, unfortunately, the nature of things right now. And so now you read into things a little bit too much. And you're like, are they doing this because they're trying to tell their story, or are they doing this because they're trying to appease a certain way of thinking and a certain worldview? And I hope it's not that, because that's very annoying, and that's not what I don't think anybody, literally maybe 5 people, most people, I hate to tell you, most people don't think like that. I don't. And I think that they should have lots of different characters. I think they should have lots of different, you know, diverse characters and I like, just like, you know, adding more. Did that work? I don't even know if that worked. Whatever, we're gonna move on. Adding more like options for customization, I think it's great, because I do think that, you know, diversity, physical diversity, I guess is what I'd call that, is fine. I think it's okay to do. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a bad thing at all. It's good, because it's good to have a range of different walks of life, because it's very appealing. But it's not as important, I don't think. And I'm never going to think it's not as important as I'm trying to figure out what the heck these guys are doing. I don't even know. Whatever. I'll figure it out. Is there something downstairs? Wait a minute. What's this say? It says, disrupt rituals within 30 yards with blessed tides something or other. Yeah, that's not doing anything, so I don't even know. But like that's like, again, and I'm saying this stuff like, not, this is how I feel. This is my opinion. I'm not trying to upset anybody. I know people might think differently. But like, when I look at the characters, you know, in this game, you know, I want to see more. Like, I want to see there be room for the classic hero, the classic good guy, you know, whatever, like, however you want to describe them, or, you know, and also the sort of like the badass characters that can be a male or a female character. I think there's room for all of that, you know, like, because, like I said, like a character, like, for example, like when I play Red Dead Redemption 2, I love Arthur Morgan. Now, the thing about Arthur Morgan as a character is he's very pliable, because you can kind of decide whether he's good or bad. Okay, that time it worked. I'm so confused. What the heck? Okay. You can kind of decide, is the Arthur Morgan going to be good or bad? Now, for me, I've played through the game twice, and I do good both times. You'd think I would want to do evil because I should see that side of things, and part of me wants to, but part of me has like this view of the character that I don't want to ruin for myself, because I made him the good guy, like the uncompromising, always did the right thing. He's an outlaw who's trying to redeem himself. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way I took him, and because like I teared up in that game. That character resonated with me. The way I took him in the game resonated with me that on that level, and I didn't want to like ruin that for myself. I didn't want to like ruin that character by like making him evil, I guess. So like that's the thing, is like for people, different types of characters resonate with people differently, and I think that that's why you have to have you can maintain certain character archetypes and add in new ones, and that doesn't, just because you're adding in new ones doesn't mean that you have to like take away old ones. I think the game might be lagging a little bit. Sorry about that. That may be why he's bugged. That's what's going on. Thought the game was lagged. Hey, why don't you quit evading me, you jerk? There we go. But like in terms of storylines, like even in characters that I play. So like another good example, like, so we're talking about like like characters, how we perceive them, the room for different types of characters and how important that is. Like, if say for example, like when I compare like the character creation in this game versus the character creation in like Final Fantasy 14, for example, right? Like, I prefer the character creation in WoW more, because there are so many like just tough, strong, physically looking, like rugged characters, like in terms of like the male characters, right? Honestly, like a lot of times I've heard people kind of criticize WoW because every character kind of looks the same. Now this was before they added in like Pandaren, Koltorans, stuff like that, and I agree. Now I like the kind of theme of characters in WoW for the most part. You have strong, buff-looking men. You've got fit females, I guess. I prefer that. I think a lot of people do. That's probably why they do that. A lot of people do prefer that. But I think that there is room for more, just different options. Like, just so that people can have characters that they personally... Some people like to have characters that they can relate to, that they kind of represent them, I guess. I can kind of understand that I can certainly understand that to a degree, and I think it's good to have... Like, I think the new customization options, I think those are good. So like there is something to be said about like the physical, having a diverse, like honestly, like people love a diverse character customization options. People prefer that because it lets them create the kind of character that they want to make, and I think that's a good thing. I really do. I think that like having a lot of different like physically diverse characters is obviously a good thing. Because like when I play Final Fantasy 14, I'm not as big a fan of the character customization because, I mean, how do I put it? Like, like a lot of the male characters are kind of, I mean, not trying to be mean, but they're kind of wimpy. Like they're very soft looking, and it's like that's okay. They're not. I'm not saying they are wimpy. It's just an aesthetic. Like it's just aesthetically speaking. This place is bugged all to heck. It's wild. They're not as aesthetically pleasing as say like the characters in this game. At least not to me. And again, that goes down to personal preference and what you like. I would prefer, like, there's some options for like a little bit of ruggedness, but like, you've got like all these cat people and like just like elves, and they all look like, sort of, I guess, the Final Fantasy look. I guess like the metrosexual look, which is very common and synonymous with Final Fantasy. Now, but when I think of like Final Fantasy games, like in Final Fantasy VII, my favorite character was always Barret. I like Barret because I like the character. I like how tough he looked. I like how like he just looked like he was ready to rip anybody's head off, and he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. That kind of stuff that I like. A lot of people like Cloud, and that's cool. Like whatever, and there's like there's that too. And a lot of people like Aerith or I'm sorry, Aeris. Is it Aerith? I don't even know. Aerith or Tifa. Like there's those characters. Like, but Barret was always my favorite in Final Fantasy. In Final Fantasy 9, my favorite character was Steiner. I love that character a lot. He's the soldier. He's like the rugged guy. In Final Fantasy 10, my favorite character was Auron. Not Titus. Titus looked like he was a wimp. Auron was the cool, mature, awesome, badass character. You know what I mean? Like that's why like I like that character. That resonates with me, and you start to see a pattern. Now that's just me. Other people like different characters. That's cool. So that's why you should have like a diverse character pool, so that way people can find that character they resonate to. But it's a combination of, like I guess physical traits, and also the character themselves. So like for say the character that you create in a game, who's like kind of like the blank slate protagonist, where personality doesn't matter. I guess physical traits kind of matter more, because that's all you really have to connect with. But then like say like if they do have a personality or whatever, that's where like their personality obviously will matter more. And I think that aspect of the character will matter way more than who the character, like what the character looks like. So like it just depends on, like, in my opinion, I'd say it just depends on how much of the character the game is going to provide. So like when all you have is superficial things to relate to, obviously the superficial things are going to matter more. But I think that when, internal things, non-superficial things, I think when those things start to become available, or they're presented in the story or through the character, then those superficial things start to matter much, much less. And the more interpersonal things take over. At least I think so. So that's when I say, like, diversity... Physical diversity only does so much, in my opinion. That's how I see it. I'm sorry, I'm trying my best to find this. This boat is the most buggy thing I have ever seen in my life. So like this is kind of like this whole conversation of lore and like characters. Like I think it's a good discussion to have, and like that's all it's meant to be, is just hey, we're just having a discussion, a friendly discussion. Nothing to get upset about. It's all about personal preferences, what's important, and it's not meant to be like a critique of different, like, I don't know how to put it, like different I guess walks of like not cracking it like diversity. I think a lot of times my problem when it comes to the topic of diversity in stories, and I'm referring mainly to physical diversity, is when that, I think that it's always a mistake when physical diversity is put at a higher importance than internal diversity, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So like that's I guess that's what I'm getting at. A lot of times, like, they'll excel at the physical diversity, but then they'll make everybody kind of the same. Especially like a lot of times, like if certain like worldviews are favored, you'll notice that like a lot of characters tend to fit the same archetype, if that makes sense, and that can get kind of boring. There were two things here. Let's go downstairs. Maybe there we go. Maybe I forgot to come down here. I don't even know. But like I actually don't even know what the heck. Oh, there's a room back here, I think. This boat, I swear to God, this boat is crazy. So like I guess that's what I'm thinking of. Like I guess that's what I'm like kind of getting at. But like, I would love to know like what you guys think about that. In terms of like just what do you value in characters? Like what do you like? Like what resonates with you about a character? Like what do you prefer when it's the characters that you're going to play? And I guess like how do you relate to characters, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Like in what ways does it matter to you? What's important to you? Because like I said, it's this is my perspective. I'm not saying that it's the same for everybody. Everybody's different. I do think that more people, there we go, finally. I think that more people will relate to characters internally than externally. I think so. And I think by the way, I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to have men relate to female characters. Just like I think it's good to have female characters relate to men. I think that just because like that goes into all forms of identity as well. Like I'm not blind, so I don't need a blind character, and that's the only character I can relate to. That doesn't really factor in too much unless that aspect of the character is telling part of the story. A character sacrifices their vision to save a loved one, and now that weakness is now they're finding ways around that weakness. that resonates with me, sure. But if it's just like, oh, this character happens to be blind, like, cool, I guess that's whatever. So you apply that however you feel, like, to any mentality, I guess, or any physical trait, and that's kind of how I'm going to feel about it. So like, I don't need people to be like me to relate. I need people that resonate with me internally, and in terms of like, I guess, like, like, sometimes it's like on a moral level, or just on a like even if it's like a character that like I want to be strong like that, that kind of thing. That oftentimes will be what resonates with me. Like, I think people that raise the bar in terms of like their whether it's a hero or a morally good person, I guess, or like those types of things, or people that aren't afraid to say what they think, people that aren't afraid to stand up for what's right, no matter what the consequences are, people that aren't afraid of the obstacles in front of them. A lot of times those are the types of people that resonate with me. And like I said, that's what I find to be the most important. But again, that's something that I would love to hear about from you guys in the comments below. Let me know what you think about that. Again, I hope that doesn't like upset anybody. I'm just giving my observation. But either way, we will continue discussions like these as we continue on our journey in BFA. We are getting close. We are now level 112, so we're making progress. It obviously has slowed down a little bit, but that's okay. But either way, you guys, it's fun to talk about stuff like this. So again, I hope it's something that we can calmly discuss and that it doesn't bother anybody. We're not here to do that, but it's definitely something I think is open for good, wholesome, enlightening discussion. So by all means, let me know what you guys think about all that stuff in the comments below. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.